Oh man, it has not smelled like a sheep in here for a while. Hi friends, welcome back. I'm MC and today we are gonna scour a fleece. And I cannot wait. So I've actually already gotten started today because the first step that I take takes a little while. So I figured I would get that going and then I'd come here and say hi and fill you in on what is happening. So firstly, let's meet Steve Jimmy Jack. Steve Jimmy Jack is a Shetland sheep from 2 More Weeks farm. I got this fleece when I was in Indiana at the Hoosier Hills Fiber Festival. So I do not know where 2 More Weeks farm is, but I'm assuming in Indiana somewhere. This is, Steve Jimmy Jack is a wether, which is a castrated male sheep. So I have never scoured a male sheep before. I know rams, which are uncastrated, can be really stinky. This does not smell any different than any other sheep that I've scoured. So we will see if anything is different. It is a black/dark gray is what's listed on the label, uncoated, and I got 2 pounds for $20, which feels good to me. You can see I would rather not touch much of this right now. So you can see some sun bleached tips, some dark, like, I would say not black. I do have a fleece that I would call black. This is more like charcoal-y. And so I have decided I'm going to quickly pull up my Fleece and Fiber source book and let's see if we can learn anything new about Shetland. I have worked with Shetland I would say not a lot, but enough that I'm pretty comfortable with it. At this point, oh my gosh, it's so many different, there's so many different pages in here referring to Shetland, but let's see if we can find like their just like main page that's just them. Oh, this is multiple pages, so I'm not going to make you sit here and read this with me, but something that's so interesting about Shetland is I will show you this image and there is so much variation within the Shetland family because there are so many different varieties. You can have Shetlands that have more crimpier hair fleece, more like long hair-like fleece. They can be double coated, some cannot be double coated. I would say based on what, totally just eyeballing it, that I would have this one. Oh, sorry, that's really reflective, which is called a Shayla, which says dark steely gray. There are 2 types, so it looks like there's kind of like a more crimpy and a less crimpy version. And yeah. Okay, here we go. I found a little characteristics of Shetland fleece types. You can have true double coated, which has a short fine undercoat and a long hairy outer coat. Transitional double coated, which is even and difficult to separate, a mix of fine short fibers and somewhat longer and coarser fibers. I'm pretty sure I have scoured one of these before. And then you have single coated, which is short stapled, fine crimpy wool, fairly even throughout the fleece. I think based on just what I've done, what I've touched so far of Steve Jimmy Jack, which by the way, is that not the best name ever? I think he is just a single coated dude. Okay. I'm gonna read some more about this later on. What has happened so far this morning? I will put the footage that I filmed over me talking right now. I opened up my bag with Steve Jimmy Jack in it, and I spread the fleece out, and I started picking through. Normally I would prefer to do this outside, but I just didn't have space for it outside today. There are leaves falling and acorns on the driveway and stuff, and so I spread it out here in my office. And I started picking through. I wanted to take out, I was looking for anything that might be like dung tags or like really gross matted fleece, something that I just like didn't want to deal with and I wanted to completely remove. I actually didn't find anything like that. This is for an uncoated fleece that I don't know anything about the farm or anything like that. It was in really, really good shape, or at least that's what it seems like to me so far. We will see how it scours up and how the processing goes, but so far so good. I had like no issues, no things that I wanted to remove from the fleece and not deal with. So the next thing that I did is I started separating out chunks, weighing things, just trying to get it into some equal piles for the scouring. So I added it all up and I have 31 ounces of fiber. So this says it was 2 pounds, which would be 32 ounces, whatever, it's okay. I'm not upset about it. I have 31 ounces and I decided I could try to split them up into about 3 10-ounce bundles, a little bit over 10 ounces, because I don't like to scour. I think the most that I like to put into a bucket at a time is about 3/4 of a pound instead of a full pound. So I was thinking I could do 3 bundles of 10 ounces-ish each, but then at the last minute I decided to change my mind and I'm gonna do 4 buckets of scouring today. So I'm gonna do 2 rounds of scouring because technically I have 3 buckets, but I have 2 big buckets and a tiny bucket, and then I have 2 mesh bags that I have dedicated to scouring, so I didn't really want to have to like pull in some other ones or something like that. So I took the first half of Steve Jimmy Jack and split it between 2 bags, and the second half is here waiting for later. And all I have done so far is I took the buckets that I have, filled them up with water, or not filled all the way, but filled up enough to cover the fleeces just from water that came out of the hose attached to our house. Not hot, not cold, just water. And all I have done is submerge the 2 bundles that I have into those buckets, and they are just sitting, they're doing a cold soak. I like to do a cold soak before I scour. You can probably see from the footage that I put in that the water like almost immediately turns really gross colors, and I just like to do a cold soak for at least an hour, but I'm not that picky about it. I usually go for about an hour, but sometimes I forget about it and I come back 2 hours later, whatever. It's not that important to me, the timing of that. It's just kind of getting a little bit of the gunk out, because I find that makes my scouring a little bit easier because I can see more clearly what I'm doing because the water isn't as dirty when I'm doing the actual scour. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go grab it, remove the fleece from the buckets, dump that yucky water, and then I'm going to fill it up with water as hot as I can just from our tap. That's all I do, is I just use the hottest that my tap can do. I fill up the buckets enough to cover the fleece, and then I will use Dawn dish detergent in there, and I don't have a very scientific way to measure it out. I will show you later when I'm getting ready to do it. The only thing that is going to be a little bit different today from my standard scouring is some of the location that I'm going to be setting up in. Normally, where I like leave my buckets while I'm letting them sit and then like dumping and stuff is going to be a little bit different than where I'm setting up today, just because I want an easy way to set up and show you what I'm doing. So everything else is exactly how I go about my scouring. So far, the first half of our little sheepy has been sitting in the cold soak for about an hour and 10 minutes now. And we're gonna go grab him, get some hot water running, and then I will meet you outside.
Catch me outside, how about that?
So that we can see what's gonna happen next. Okay, here we are. We have my 2 buckets just sitting here outside. I like to wear gloves when the water is as gross as it is. I put the lids like just on top of the buckets, mainly just so like leaves and stuff don't fall in them. It really doesn't matter, but look at how icky this water is. Like, actually, I've seen a lot worse, a lot darker, that you can't quite see through as much, but gross. So I am going to now literally just pull this out, give it a good squeeze, dump the water, fill it up with hot water, and we will be back. I can't hold a camera and do this all at the same time. Okay, are we ready for my tried and true, amazing, scientifically proven scouring soap ratio? I'm just using Dawn, regular old Dawn, and here we go. This is what I do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I know, very scientific, very scientific. You can see it like sitting there in the bucket. It is not, like, I don't want it sudsy right now. So I'm going to grab my, this is funny, you can see me in the reflection. Hi. Grabbing this guy, and we're just gonna submerge, push it gently under. This water is hot as my water heater can go. You can see the water is still looking really gross, but it is very like oily now. That is the lanolin starting to melt off. All I'm doing is gently pushing it under the water, making sure that it is all good. I like to cover it up, like I said. And now I'm gonna go get the other bucket set up and set a timer for about 10 minutes. Okay, it's been roughly 10 minutes, maybe a little bit longer. I'm not like that concerned with how long it's in here. I just don't want the water to cool too much, because the hot water is what is melting off the lanolin, and if it cools, then the lanolin just goes right back onto the sheep. So you can see this water still looks gross, but it's way more cloudy than it was before. So, okay, normally I would do this with 2 hands, but I'm just gonna try and pull this out of here. Give it a little squeeze. I would squeeze it better if I had 2 hands, but you know what? This is gonna be fine for now. I'm just gonna plop it in another bucket I have. So you can see this water is gross. And I'm going to dump this in the yard because this has lanolin in it, and it is not good to put into your pipes, especially if you have a septic system, which we do. So this is going to get dumped in the yard. That's why I like to scour outside, because like it's just, I'm already in the yard. So I'm going to dump this, take my sheepy out of here, dump it, and refill both of these just like I did before with hot water, and then I will be back. Okay, we're ready for round 2. And here is my secret, special, scientific Dawn recipe for scouring round 2. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I know that's complicated, so do you want to see it again? Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, remember, it's 8 for scour number 1, 6 for scour number 2. This has absolutely no scientific bearing. I just do that every time, and it's worked. So now we're going to take these babies and just just like we did before, exactly the same thing. This is the hottest water that my tap can produce. I'm giving them a little smush, and that's it. There we go. Now I'm gonna let these rest in here for 10 to 15 minutes. I like to put the covers on just to help keep some heat in and keep any nature from coming inside. And we'll be back. We are ready to check on our second scour. Why am I so close? Sorry, now the door's creaking. Everything sounds creepy. Oh, it's about to slam. That wasn't as bad as I thought. Okay, ideally, I want to do 2 scours. I don't want to do 3. We're gonna check it together. Normally, I just make my decision based on like an assessment when I open it up and take a look at the second scour. If things look really cloudy still, that usually means that there's still some lanolin in there. So then I'll do a 3rd scour. Fingers crossed. I really don't want to do a 3rd scour today. So let's see what this looks like together. Okay, here we go. I'm just showing you the orange one because it's a little bit easier to see inside. Okay, this water is looking a lot more clear, but still pretty cloudy. And you see how there are some suds forming? That's a good sign that the lanolin is escaping, that there are soap suds forming, but you can still see some big swirls of creamy or oily greasiness. I don't know exactly what term I'm trying to say, but you can see those swirls on the top of the water, and that means that there's lanolin has come out, but we're still getting lanolin out. Let me give this a squeeze. So normally I would try to agitate this less, and I would lift it gently out with 2 hands and give it a squeeze, but I think we're gonna be okay. I'm not rubbing it that much with just 1 hand. So we're gonna remove that, and oh, I don't want to, but I think I'm gonna have to do another round. Okay, so I'm gonna do exactly what I did before. Hang on. I'm going to do exactly what I did for my second scour. Same deal as everything has always been. My camera's so crooked. Hottest water that my tap can hold or make. 6 of my soap squiggles. And 10 to 15-ish minutes sitting there. I'm not going to film it because I just did that already, and filming makes this all take so much longer. So everything that I did for step 2, scour step 2, I'm going to do one more time and hit myself in the face. I'm going to do it one more time. Then we will come back for the rinsing. Okay, let's see how things are doing. Oh, it's really sunny now, so the shadows are going to be hard. But you can see already, before I agitated anything, there's a lot more bubbles. So this is a good sign. Things are looking a lot better. So let's take a look. The water is still very cloudy, but I'm okay with that because I've done 3 scours. Things are looking good. Okay, I have to say, oh, a leaf got in there. I am not a professional. I'm someone that likes doing this. I've learned it through trial and error. So let's see if I can get some, the shadows are so bad. Can I block things for you? There we go. That's better. So you can see some cloudiness, but you can see a lot of suds. The water is, you can see my hand, but it's kind of like milky. I'm okay with this. I'm okay with this as a 3rd scour. I'm going to move on to rinses. I will come back in a second to explain that. Oh my gosh, the sun's really bad. We are going to move on to rinses. Basically what that means is I'm doing the exact same thing as I did before, but there's no soap. Fill up the bucket as hot as my tap can take it, make it, whatever, and then I'm going to submerge the fleece in there. No soap, just gonna let it sit 10 to 15 minutes. And all we're really working on right now is just getting the soap out of the fleece. Still no agitation, just gonna let it do its thing. And this, so what I just finished the second scour, I am going to dump outside still. But the rinses, I'm going to dump down the drain. Joe and I talked about it and we're comfortable with me dumping it down the drain because there's no more lanolin left. It's just soapy water and kind of dirty water because there's still dirt, just general existence dirt coming off of the sheep. Do whatever makes you feel comfortable for your setup at home. If you want to still dump things outside, I will often do the whole thing dumping outside. Right now, today, especially with the filming, I'm feeling really tired and my back is hurting. And so I am going to do what is easiest for me and what I'm comfortable with. And I'm going to take these inside and dump them. And I'm going to do this twice. So fill up the bucket, no soap, submerge the sheep. 10 to 15 minutes later, dump. Fill up the bucket, no soap, submerge the sheep. 10 to 15 minutes later, dump. And I'm not going to film that for you because you've been looking at these buckets enough. You can figure out how to do that. I know you can. And then we'll talk about what happens at the very end later on. I'll be back. All right, let's wrap this up. We're done. We're done. I am wearing my back brace because my back is hurting. And when I say we are done, I mean we are done with the 2 buckets that you saw me working on. I still have, I weighed it and I have 14 ounces of little Steve Jimmy Jack left to scour. And I'm not gonna do it today. I can't, I'm too tired. This is a lesson to myself. A lesson that I really already knew. 2 buckets in one day is my max. I don't know what I was thinking, that I was gonna do a second round of scouring. So that is gonna happen on another day later this week. So that means if I have 14 ounces left, actually I think it's more like 13 ounces because I weighed it in the bag. So let's just say I scoured roughly a pound today. I can actually put the like true numbers of what I did on the screen. And then right now it is drying. So what I did was, like I said before, 2 rounds of rinsing with just super hot water, as hot as my tap can go. How many times can I say that? Soak for 10 to 15 minutes, dump and repeat. By the time I finished my second rinse, there were no more soap suds. The water was pretty clear. It's not necessarily going to be like crystal clear water because there's still, you know, some VM in there. There's still like stuff, right? It's fine if it's not like the most sparkling clear water you've ever seen, but it was clear by the time I was done. And so then what I did was I removed the bags from the buckets. I'm a little hungry, so I'm having trouble talking right now. I removed the bags from the buckets and I let them sit for a little bit. This is not a necessary step, but it's just something that I like to do because they're still pretty hot. They've been in really hot water, and I use a spin dryer on them to get the excess water out. And I don't want to have them hot and going into the spin dryer, risking heat plus agitation. Now the spin dryer isn't supposed to really agitate things, but still, I just like to let them sit for a teeny bit and come down closer to room temperature before I put them through the spin dryer. Then I put them through the spin dryer, and then I will insert a video of how things look right now. We have a spare screen, like window screen. When we got our windows replaced, one of the screens had a little cut in it already, came damaged. So we got a replacement and we kept the old one, and that has been great. Basically what I do is I spread it across the arms of a chair that we have outside, and then I lay the fleece across that. That's why I like to scour on nice days, because it just helps. It lets airflow come to the fleece from the top and the bottom, and so I find that it dries a lot faster. That combined with using the spin dryer, my fleeces dry so much faster than if I didn't have either of those things. They would take forever. So once this dries, once what I have done dries, I will be able to see how much loss I have had. Usually, I think I want to say it's like supposed to be like 20 to 30% loss. I don't remember off the top of my head. But you get loss at every stage. You know, you get loss from just removing bad pieces of wool at the beginning before you even scour. You get loss from the weight of the lanolin that is removed, and dirt and grime and stuff that's removed during scouring. And then once you're going through the picking or carding process or combing, whatever you do, you're going to have waste from that as well, which is when you get second cuts and more VM and just yucky pieces of wool that might be stuck together or whatever. So there's a lot of waste. Not a lot of waste, a lot of loss of stuff that can happen throughout the process. So the fact that I started out with 2 pounds, I'm gonna say I'll end up with like, well, let's see. My last fleece I scoured was, I had about 1 pound 3 ounces, and I ended up with 11 ounces left at the end. So I don't know, maybe this time I'll end up with like 1.3. I don't know. I'll put it on the screen. Once it's dry, I will weigh it and I will put it on the screen what I have. At least as far as right now, I don't know if I will be finishing the scouring before this video goes up. So I'll put whatever information I have right here for you. And let's see, if you have any questions, let me know. I can go through more of this process when it comes time for the picking and carding and spinning and whatever you want to see. But I was very surprised that Steve Jimmy Jack actually doesn't look that different than he did before. Usually I notice a big change in color, and he is still a nice little grayish brown man. So I'm excited to see what this looks like as we go through all of the steps. So if you would like to see more of this process, let me know. I will happily continue the Steve Jimmy Jack saga. And let me know down in the comments. Like and subscribe. Let me know if you have any questions. Ask away. I will happily answer. Keep in mind that I am not a professional. I just like doing this, and I found something that works for me. So that is my whole scouring process. And until next time, take care of you, and I will see you later. Bye.